last week we were at Trillium enjoying a delicious meal of sushi, after which we were faced with the conundrum of how to sort our trash. And although the plastic sushi box very clearly said that it's recyclable, I still did not know where to put it because there was still a little bit of soy sauce left at the bottom of the box. And so just to be safe, I went ahead and put the box in landfill. And at this point, what we realized was that if we faced it, and of the 30 people that passed by us in those 10 minutes, only 12 actually made an attempt to recycle. Everyone else just went ahead and threw their items in the landfill. Of those 12 people, only 10 actually recycled their items correctly. If of 30 people at Cornell, only 10 actually sort their trash correctly, then I wonder what the rest of the world's recycling habits are like.
Last year, the United States produced about 230 million tons of trash. That's enough trash to form over 730,000 Statues of Liberty. Of that amount, only 1/3 was recycled or recovered, while the other 2/3 ended up in a landfill. This is quite an outstanding number because, when we asked our peers why they said they should recycle, they said,
So I think from a logistics point of view, when you're throwing away things like plastics and metals, you're accumulating things that don't actually decompose. So all you're really doing is you're accumulating more and more things that are not going to disappear, and you're taking up more and more space.
So we should recycle because resources are running out and there are future generations of people that need the same resources that we had.
most people are aware of why they should recycle. In the 2012 IPSOS survey, 81% of Americans cited helping reduce landfills as an advantage of recycling. However, when people are unsure of whether an item should be recycled, half say they just throw the item away, while 18% report putting it in recycling, and overall, about 25% of Americans say they don't recycle at all. Why don't we recycle?
And most Cornell students' days are so hectic. I think a lot of people overlook sorting all of their trash, and occasionally I do throw away things in landfill that probably should have ended up in compost or recycling.
Normally in the dining halls where it's not as clear cut and it's a little bit more inconvenient to do so, I normally just overlook it and I don't really bother to separate things.
Thus, there is a clear disparity in awareness and action. Almost all students at Cornell are aware to a sufficient degree about the benefits of recycling, but not all of them recycle. What is that missing link? We believe the answer lies in accessibility, or how readily available recycling bins are available, and 2, approach, or an understanding of how to sort trash and recycle. This means including sorting exercises in elementary and middle school curriculums so that people don't have to think as much about how to recycle, and perhaps having volunteers at bins helping people to sort their trash for a certain period until people start to understand and adopt that process.
Cornell's Sustainable Campus Initiative claims that 64%, almost 2/3, of solid waste on campus is diverted from area landfills as a result of recycling and composting. Let us return to the big picture for a minute. Remember, on a national level, only 1/3 of waste is currently recycled. Thus, even if many Cornell students feel as though they should recycle more, Cornell is actually 30% more efficient than the national average in sustainable waste disposal. Yet, Cornell campus is in many ways a controlled setting. It can be argued that Cornell's relatively high commitment to sustainability can be attributed to 4 key variables. 1. Sustainability research initiatives by faculty members. 2. The education afforded to students about sustainability. 3. The affluence that the university has as a land grant and a private institution. And 4. Its community outreach as the largest university in a small town. It is important to remember that the conditions and demographic factors at Cornell differ from most places in the USA, so that variables that determine levels of recycling elsewhere may be different. So what motivates a Cornell student would be very different from what motivates a working man in downtown Chicago, which would still be very different from what motivates a blue-collar worker in Cleveland, Ohio. A study conducted by Nalgene found that cities like San Francisco and New York ranked in the top 5 least wasteful cities in the USA, placing cities like Houston, Texas, and Cleveland, Ohio in the lowest, whereas cities like Chicago fell in the middle. The study also found that eco-friendly behaviors that require more effort consistently rank at the bottom of the barrel, including walking for short trips instead of driving, hanging clothes to dry rather than using a dryer, taking public transportation, or composting. For instance, consider the city of Chicago. It is the third largest city in the United States and the largest in the Midwest. It is also home to many prominent universities: the University of Chicago, Northwestern University, and the University of Illinois at Chicago. The average downtown Chicago resident holds a white-collar job, and average household income is $47,000. The affluence and the presence of prestigious universities in the area means that sustainability initiatives aren't unheard of in Chicago, but less affluent neighborhoods bring overall recycling levels down compared to cities like Ithaca, New York. In comparison, in a place like Cleveland, where 53% of the population is African American, median household income is around $27,000 a year, so around $20,000 less than in Chicago. There is much less sustainability drive. Cleveland is neither home to a host of colleges nor to a series of tech companies. It has little in the way of innovative spirit compared to a place like Cornell campus or Silicon Valley. Overall, the tendency of the average Clevelander to recycle is much lower than that of a Cornellian or a Chicago resident. Thus, there is awareness and there is lack of action. The missing link between these two may be accessibility and approach in a university like Cornell. But these factors will be different wherever you look in the United States. The important thing is that it is in your hands to figure out what it is that those factors are in your region and to mobilize yourself and others to take the steps necessary to recycle.